Welcome back, children. This is our third video for chapter 2, periodic classification of elements. And in the last video we studied two scientists and their attempts at classifying elements. The first one was Dobereiner's triads, that's a group of 3 elements, and the second was Newland's octave, a group of 8 elements. Every 8th element repeats or shows similar properties to the first element. This was his invention. Today we study Mendeleev's periodic table. Now before we see what he has done, let us understand that Dmitry Mendeleev, he was a professor at St. Petersburg University in Russia. He made separate card for every known elements. There were about 63 known elements then, and he made cards showing their atomic masses. He then arranged these cards in accordance to their atomic masses, in increasing order of their atomic masses, and also studied the properties of these elements, mainly the way they react with oxygen and the way they form oxides. Okay, and then this resulted in the invention of his famous periodic table, which is considered to be accepted or acceptable by many of the scientists. Of course, later on there were a few changes that were made. So Russian scientist Dmitry Mendeleev, he developed his own periodic table, which was the most important step in classification of elements. Now Mendeleev also considered atomic mass to be the fundamental property of elements, like the other two, like Dobereiner as well as Newland. He also considered atomic mass to be the fundamental property. This is where probably they were going wrong. Okay, but however, he did not just stop with atomic masses. He also went ahead to study their physical as well as chemical properties. He arranged all the 63 known elements of those days into groups according to their increasing masses. He also checked their physical and chemical properties and found that elements with similar physical and chemical properties repeat a definite pattern. So Mendeleev's periodic law statement, this can come as a definition. It's an important definition. According to his statement, properties of elements are periodic function of their atomic masses. Properties of elements are periodic functions of their atomic masses. That means they repeat. The properties keep repeating after a definite interval. Now Mendeleev was successful in classifying all the 63 known elements. In his periodic table, he called the vertical columns as groups, and there were 8 vertical columns called groups, and he had 12 horizontal rows which were called as periods. So the vertical columns are called groups and the horizontal rows are called as periods. So he had 8 groups and 12 periods. Now this is what his periodic table was like. Now what we notice here is all the elements with similar properties he placed under that particular group, like group 1, group 2, all these have the same properties. Group 3, all of group 3 will have similar properties. Group 4, group 5, group 6, group 7, group 8. Okay, now what is important here is his contribution in checking each one and how each element behaves with oxygen to form its oxide. The first group elements form oxide as R2O. Now 2 in present times we write it like this, we don't write it on the top, R2O. Okay, now in the 8th standard you had studied how we find the valency of each element. Now R is any element from the periodic table. Okay, like we take X and Y in maths, etc. Here we take as R. R is any element here in this periodic table. So if you take group 1, they'll form an oxide as R2O. That means the valency of R is 1 by cross multiplying, and valency of oxygen is 2. That means R is single positive radical and O is -2 radical. Therefore, when we cross multiply it, we get the formula R2O. Now let's take hydrogen from the first group. So it will form an element, a compound called H2O. Lithium will form Li2O. Sodium will form Na2O, sodium oxide. Potassium will form K2O, that is potassium oxide. Copper will form Cu2O. Okay, silver will form Ag2O. So all elements from the group 1 will form oxides as R2O. What about group 2 then? They form it as RO. So what is the valency of R here then? If it's forming an oxide RO, that means the valency is +2 and oxygen is always -2. So 2 and 2 get cancelled here and we get RO, R1O1, which one we normally don't write. So RO. So BeO, MgO, magnesium oxide, CaO, calcium oxide, ZnO, SrO. So this is the way they will form oxide. Group 3 elements R2O3. Okay, let me just clean this and take another pen. So now you'll get, for the group 3 elements, you will get the formula R2O3. That means the valency of oxygen is 2 cross multiplied and valency of R is now +3. Okay, that means they have 3 valence electrons. So if you notice, all group 1 elements had 1 valence electron, group 2 elements had 2 valence electrons, group 3 elements have 3 valence electrons. So therefore it forms an ion R+3. Okay, now how will you get, suppose you have to form Al with oxygen. Keeping this in mind, now you can take Al and form R2O3. Replace R with Al. So you get Al2O3, aluminium oxide, Al2O3. So this is how he checked all. And here group 4 onwards, we also see how these elements not just behaved with oxygen but also with hydrogen to form their hydrides. Okay, not just oxide but even hydrides. For example, C will form RH4. Replace R by C. So you get CH4. And how will it form the oxides? In the same way they will form oxides as we have studied. So RO2. The group 4 elements will form RO2. Now C is +4. Okay, and O is -2. So 2 2s are 4. So you get CO2, carbon dioxide. I hope you understood this one. Okay, I hope I'm not confusing you. So here you get RO2. This is the way you will get the oxide of group 4 element. Now carbon, we know the valency of carbon is actually +4 and oxygen is -2. So 2 2s are 4. Okay, so just a minute, I think I need a little more space to show you this. So here the group 4 element is forming RO2. So if you take carbon, it will become CO2. Now how CO2? C is actually +4. It has 4 electrons. Okay, and oxygen we know is -2. So 2 1s are 2, 2 2s are 4. So cross multiplied, you get C1O2. Right? So that's how we got CO2. And also with hydrogen, how it behaves with hydrogen, RH4, so CH4. So this is how, because there's a question at the end where you have to check the way these elements behave with oxygen to form oxides and hydrides and give the chemical formula. Therefore, I took this in a little bit detail. Now, what you notice about Mendeleev's periodic table, that there are many question marks and many blank spaces. Why did he leave blank spaces? He had 63 elements. He could have easily put them in the entire table. He did put them, but he did not put them anywhere. He put them wherever the properties matched, only in those groups. And he went a step ahead to say that there are many more elements in the nature, which maybe it will be discovered later. At present, it's not yet been discovered, but probably later it will be discovered, and so they will fit properly into this periodic table. And therefore, he kept those blank spaces. So much so, he also predicted what type of oxides they will form, what type of hydrides they will form. and some of the elements he had already predicted that so and so element will be discovered sooner or later, and that did come true. So you see how important was Mendeleev's contribution in this periodic table. So there are some vacant places in periodic table. You can see the question marks over there. These are the ones he predicted, like okay, this element will be, he just gave names. Okay, these DI, wherever there are question marks, CE, the names were just predicted by him. Okay, they were not the actual names, but he gave the exact atomic masses of those elements. What would be the atomic masses? What would be the property? How they would react with oxygen? How they would react with hydrogen? All this was already predicted by Mendeleev. Okay. So therefore, Mendeleev's periodic table have many. Just a minute. It has many merits and very few demerits. Now remember, they all considered atomic masses to be the fundamental property. So Mendeleev's periodic table demonstrated the following merits. First of all, atomic masses of some elements were revised. He did not depend on the old atomic masses so as to give them proper place in the periodic table according to their properties. Then Mendeleev kept vacant spaces in the periodic table for elements which were still not discovered. He also predicted accurately their properties and gave them certain names. Okay, 3 of these unknown elements. This comes as a question. Okay, mention the 3 unknown elements. What were the names given to them by Mendeleev and what were the new names after they were discovered? So he gave names for 3 unknown elements, Ika-boron, which later on came to be called as scandium. Then Ika-aluminium, which came to be called as gallium, and Ika-silicon. So Ika-boron, Ika-aluminium, Ika-silicon. These were the 3 elements which he predicted. Later on they were called as scandium, gallium and germanium respectively. The properties of these elements matched very well with those of those predicted by Mendeleev. We had already said how they would behave with oxygen, with hydrogen, what would be their physical properties, chemical properties, melting point, boiling point, whether they'll be soft, whether they'll be hard, whether they'll be metals, whether they'll be non-metals. All this was already predicted by him. Okay, so though there was no place kept for noble gases, Mendeleev later on created a zero group without disturbing the table. Okay, so that time noble gases were not discovered and he did not predict it either. But he later on, without disturbing the periodic table, because noble gases had altogether different properties, nothing like the known elements then. Okay, so due to this success, all were convinced about the importance of Mendeleev's periodic table, and this method of classification of elements was accepted immediately. Okay, but the Mendeleev's periodic table had certain demerits as well. These also come as question. What are the merits? You have to study them. What are the demerits of Mendeleev's periodic table? Certain demerits: cobalt and nickel had same atomic masses approximately with point differences, but were placed in different groups. He was smart enough to understand that they both have different chemical properties, though their atomic masses looked more or less the same. Isotopes were not discovered then. Now what are isotopes? With same atomic number but different atomic masses. Okay, or mass number, different atomic mass number. For example, we said carbon. Carbon atomic number 6, atomic mass number 12. But later on there was an isotope of carbon, carbon 14, carbon 16. Okay, so isotopes were not discovered. So therefore isotopes, there was no placing them in his periodic table. So placing them later on, the scientists wonder, now where do we place the isotopes? Of course, that problem was sorted out with the modern periodic table, which we will study. When elements are arranged in an increasing order of atomic masses, the rise in atomic mass does not appear to be uniform in his table, because he considered the properties as well. Okay, he went ahead and considered the property, how each element was behaving, and therefore he didn't bother much, even though the masses did not match the criteria of increasing order. Certain places, like certain element were placed before. I think copper and cobalt. Okay, one was placed before the other, though one was having lower atomic mass. But he was right. because he considered the properties more than the atomic masses. That means, what does that mean? There is some other thing that is governing the fundamental property of elements, and nobody had looked into that till then. Then hydrogen shows similar properties to halogens, that is of group 7, and also the alkali metals of group 1. Okay, so the place of hydrogen was not very sure in Mendeleev's periodic table. So these were some of the demerits. However, many scientists were baffled by the way he handled all these 63 elements, and they were astonished by his periodic table, and they all immediately accepted his periodic table. Okay, now as I explained to you, group 1 forming R2O, group 2 forming RO with oxide, that is with oxygen, group 3 forming R2O3. Remember to write down R2O3, not on the top. Now this is the way here. Okay, this is the way we write R2O, R2O3, etc. So you have a little homework now. Use your brain power. Write the molecular formula of oxides of the following elements by referring to the Mendeleev's periodic table. You have to see in which group they are. Sodium, for example, is in group 1. So it will form R2O, that is Na2O. Then you have to find out silicon is in which group, calcium falls into which group, rubidium falls into which group, Rb, phosphorus P, barium Ba, chlorine Cl, and tin Sn. Okay, and you have to check the periodic table, check the formulas here of oxides and form those oxides. And then also write the molecular formula of the compounds of the following element with hydrogen. Okay, like you see the group 4 element reacts with oxygen to hydrogen to give RH4. So this is your little homework, which I'm sure you'll be able to do with a little bit of revising what we have just done. So till then, till we meet again.